The Jewish that aren't real Jews he's talking about.
What Jews aren't real Jews?
Kyrie said, how can I be anti-Semitic when I'm a Semite also?
Well,
was he wrong about that? The Jewish stereotype? I don't even know why y'all are mad. Oh, you own everything. Oh, what a bad stereotype.
Just calling it anti-Semitic is a problem if you don't explain why it's anti-Semitic.
Yeah. That's why I like people like you, because you're ready for the smoke. Like, let's talk. Let's go.
Once your eyes are open, you then have a respansibility. And a lot of people don't want to face that responsibility, so they want to keep their eyes closed.
Keep the eyes closed.
We will unite. The question is not if, it's when.
What? Like that. I'm talking about trying to get my people together. Rudy.
Godfrey. Trust. And what you say is true. Godfrey. Could be dangerous.
And you said, hey, Godfrey, check it out. We've been talking about this whole black and Jewish thing going on, which I'm kind of happy that it's being talked about.
Just calling it anti-Semitic is a problem if you don't explain why it's anti-Semitic.
Yeah, but they don't. They'll just say anti-Semitic and you can't talk to them.
Saying that something is anti-Semitic is not a problem if you explain why it's
anti-Semitic. But they don't. And that's the problem. It's like, if I say you're being anti-black, I'll go, I'll explain it to you real quick. I'll say
specify.
Explain. Just say it. What's anti-Semitic? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it better make sense. That's okay, you got it, my bad. But if I don't agree with you, I'm not being anti-Semitic. I'm just disagreeing with you on certain things. But there can be people who are that, of course. All that talking, you go to places, you hear stories, you know. That's why I like people like you, because you're ready for the smoke. Like, let's talk. Let's go. Yeah. But a lot of times you don't get that. You get a lot of, no, I don't want to hear it. Or they'll overtalk you, won't let you talk. You know what I mean? A lot of deflection and tiptoeing. Footing around.
A lot of people don't know their own history. You know, they just kind of grow up and it's just kind of laziness and they're bored.
If life is easy for that.
Once your eyes are open, you then have a responsibility. And a lot of people don't want to face that responsibility,
they
want to keep their eyes closed.
Keep the eyes closed. A lot of times, too, the Jewish stereotype, I don't even know why y'all are mad. Oh, you own everything. Oh, what a bad stereotype. God, I would love that shit.
It comes from. In Nazi Germany.
I love that stereotype.
Germany,
we own everything.
Well, hold up. This is where it comes from. In Nazi Germany, Jews didn't own everything. They were told that they own everything, which made everyone go and attack them and eventually kill 6 million. So being funny is a superpower. You could use it for good. You could use it for bad.
Right.
There are certain lines. I think the role of a Jew within white supremacy throughout history has always been to use them as the face of the oppression. Yes. For example, the Jews that had an experience in Europe, which again, like we said, was not all Jews, they were used to be the tax collectors. They were not allowed to own land. They were not allowed to participate in agrarianism, to sell crops and cattle and so on. They were used to be the tax collectors. Why? Because they were taxing them by 90% of their earnings. And who was taking the money? It was the Jews, but not for the Jews. It was for the king and queen. But the face of the oppression was the Jew. And that's what we see happening again today, where people are experiencing oppression from the top, but the face that they're seeing is the Jew. And then they're saying the Jews run the banks, the Jews run the media, the Jews run the government. And you have some individual Jews that have been let to rise up into those positions intentionally in order to make it seem as we're the ones that are responsible for those crimes. And by the way, most of those Jews in Hollywood and other places, people that Kanye was calling out, don't even themselves care about Judaism. Usually don't marry Jews themselves.
They're not even real. Are they real? Are they phony? Zionist? What's this Zionist thing?
Being a Jew, you can't take that away from you, right? It's like being a black person. You can't take that away from you. Right. You will always be a Jew, but that doesn't mean they have the best interest of the Jewish people or act on behalf of the Jewish people. Of course. So when you have individuals that happen to have been born Jewish, you can never take that identity from them, who don't care about their Judaism at all or act like a true Jew, which is someone who's bringing morality into this world, bringing oneness into this world. Then people look at that person and say, oh, that must be all Jews, when the majority of the Jews don't act that way. You know, when Dave Chappelle came on and started making jokes about anti-Semitism and not everyone took it seriously, for me, I didn't like what Dave Chappelle said at all because he's desensitizing society.
What did you like in the jokes? I would like to know. That'd be interesting.
So let me just give another example of Dave Chappelle, right? Imagine after Floyd being killed, George Floyd, right? Very heavy situation. The whole world was moved. I'm sure you were hurt and you were serious about that situation, right? Imagine a non-black person comes on and starts making fun about racism right after that happens. Would people then say, oh, well, everything...
What is the joke he's telling them?
Okay, so let's break down what Dave Chappelle said. First of all, he starts his monologue with a speech saying that he condemns anti-Semitism, but joking about it, not being serious. As if you make a monologue and then all of a sudden anything you say is going to be okay and everyone's laughing.
No, wait. Okay, remember, we're comedians. He's telling a joke.
But it's not funny.
But to you.
Yeah, but the problem is when the world laughs at anti-Semitism, which is a real thing, then they realize that it's not
But laughing... He wasn't laughing at First of all, Dave's not anti-Semitic.
I didn't say
he couldn't be because Lorne Michaels runs SNL and he's Jewish.
That doesn't matter.
And he worked in an Israeli club.
That still doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter.
I think it could be or couldn't be. It's based on himself, not based on his surroundings or where he lives.
So he said, "This will buy you, Kanye. This will buy you some time." That when he said that letter, it was hilarious.
I thought it was funny too.
It was funny as fuck because you know what? He was making fun.
The Jewish,
but I do understand what he's saying, though.
The Jewish people are very hurt at the moment, and there's real trauma that we face, and there's real persecution. In New York City, you live in New York, right?
Yes, sir.
13% of the population is Jewish. Over 56% of the total hate crimes are specifically targeted against Jews. Nobody understands our struggle and what we face.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know that. I didn't know that percentage because We get shot a lot, so I don't know because we're always getting arrested.
You shouldn't
and
hear
beaten
any of our trauma as a competition or any way.
No, it's not a competition. I don't know because I think that everybody hates black people. I really believe that because it shows.
You another comment.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
I want to hear Dave.
When Dave did that letter thing, I thought it was funny because he's making fun of the way Kanye went about it. That's what he's making
But even if Kanye read a letter, which by the way, in Kanye's speeches and in his interviews, he was talking about how he loves Jews so much. So he said those things, that he supports the Jewish community, he loves the Jewish community, he envies the Jewish. So he said those things.
Yeah.
But he also said other things. So let's break down the problematic things that were said. So first of all, when you're starting your monologue by making fun of dealing with anti-Semitism is by making a statement, but then you're allowed to say what you want, is a little bit problematic. Then he said things like, well, Jews have to stop blaming black people for their Holocaust. I mean, you're Jewish. Have you ever heard of a Jew in your life blaming black people for the Holocaust?
We talked about that. We talked about that last
in the
week.
minds of people that, next time they see a Jew, they blame me for the Holocaust.
But they called like certain black leaders Hitlers, and that's fucked up.
But I mean, Hitler's being used as a word for anything.
Yeah,
People
they
call
was
Trump
like you're
Hitler,
like
people call
a
anybody
Hitler. I go,
Yeah.
Well, people use that term
nobody's
today
killing
in general.
black folks. Don't kill Jews like that. We don't. That's a fucked up label to put on somebody. That's Hitler did some really.
That's everyone.
But again, you're talking about individuals, and they use that term throughout whatever society. Now we're talking about like Jews themselves.
Yeah.
I've never had in my life a conversation where Jews are blaming black people for the Holocaust.
When he said stop blaming black people, what he's saying is, there's a lot of subtext in comedy.
Yeah.
A lot of times people take it literally. He's saying you're getting mad at Kyrie Irving. The shit you're doing to Kyrie Irving is just not. It's just a little overboard.
I think it's because it was right after Kanye.
And it's like you're blaming them. It's like you're being ridiculous on how you're treating, especially Kyrie and that's what he was saying with that. He didn't
technically referring to
I don't know what
Kyrie.
it has to do
He
with
was
the Holocaust.
referring to those guys.
But how does that have to do with the Holocaust?
What are you talking about?
I mean, the fact that he said that Jews stop blaming black people for your Holocaust, what does that have to do with?
Because it's the anti-Semitism thing has to do with the Holocaust is a big deal.
Sure.
It's like slavery with us, slavery with African Americans.
Yeah.
So that's like with the Holocaust, that's serious as fuck. And I get why people get sensitive. Motherfuckers make jokes about slavery all the time.
But there's certain lines.
I know there's lines.
The point that I'm saying is right now nobody's taking Jews seriously. Like you go to
who doesn't take Jewish
let me
people
explain
serious?
this is what you need to understand from our perspective, because
go ahead.
the media doesn't talk about the Jewish perspective and the Jewish experience. Who usually hates the left? The right. Who usually hates the right? The left. Who usually hates women? Men. It's usually one opposite group. You know who hates the Jews? Literally every single group. The far right blames the Jews for being the left. Far left blames every single group's extreme.
Right.
The far left blames the group for being the right.
Yes.
The communists say that we're the capitalists. The capitalists say that we're the communists. You have the super black people that are saying, like the Farrakhan's, I know that you're a friend of him, but he said
I'm not. He doesn't know me.
Okay, well, listen.
But no,
Farrakhan says a lot of foul things about the Jewish people. He says
What
a lot
does
of
he
true
say?
things.
Have you seen his speeches?
Yes, I've seen his speeches.
What does he say?
He says Jewish white devils. He says a lot of bad
No.
things.
He doesn't.
Yeah, he
Nah,
did.
you don't see his speeches.
I did see
then.
his speeches.
No,
he does say that.
He does say that.
When?
Termites.
Termites?
Yeah, I think
termites. You gotta watch
When?
that, man. All the time.
What speak? That's
Listen,
bullshit.
hold on.
No, I'm not a Nation of Islam guy. I'm not.
Sure. And
I'm
I think
saying
Farrakhan
I think
does
I
a lot
listen
of good
to
things for the black community, so we're separating those things. But he says some very foul, problematic things against the Jews. The white
against the
supremacists-
Jewish that aren't real Jews. He's talking about.
What Jews aren't real Jews?
I don't even get into that because I don't get into the. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about the
Me.
He's doing replacement
Zionists.
theology. What is a Zionist?
I don't. That's what I'm saying.
All right, so let me tell you.
Explain it to me.
Zionism is the right for the Jewish people to self-determine on their ancestral homeland. It's the idea that the Jews should be able to return back to their land. If you want your people that are in diaspora to return back to Biafra, or the tribe of God that are descendants from Eri that are Igbos to come back to Israel, that is the idea of Zionism, returning to Zion. You ever hear the song Road to Zion?
Of course.
Returning to Zion, which means Jerusalem. So Zionism means the right for the Jewish people to be able to live back in their homeland. It has nothing to do with 1948 or the conflict or Palestinians, which, by the way, I work on the ground daily uniting Israelis and Palestinians for us to live in a better reality that unites both peoples.
I know what you're saying about some of the sensitivities, but I don't think Dave's intention was to down it. He was just trying to make, because it was so tense, he was just trying to make light of it. He walked that line. You know what I mean? But I get where you're coming from. It's not like I don't get where you're coming from, because you're sacrificing yourself and getting all this deep study.
For us, it's real.
It's real, and I get that. But Dave is not as in depth as you as far as what you're doing. So I get it from your perspective as a documentary filmmaker, historian who's doing the real, not History Channel. You're doing the grassroots.
Well, ideally,
And so I totally get where you come from.
That she could get behind.
Well,
People are, once they talk to him, it's
because you know why? He's speaking to us. And he's making us go, no, you guys are Jews too. I mean, the way it was done, people are like, well, what are you talking about? Because Kyrie said, how can I be anti-Semitic when I'm a Semite also?
Well,
was he wrong about that?
Look, you have some Jews that have internalized anti-Semitism. So just because you are a Jew or you aren't a Jew, you can still be anti the collective of the Jewish people. But if he really is a descendant of the Semitic people and specifically the Jewish people, that makes him a Jew. but he could still be against the Jewish people. That doesn't mean because you're a Jew that you can't be against the collective. You could be a black person and have internalized racism and be against black people. So this whole statement of I can't be an anti-Semite because I'm a Semite doesn't really work, because anti-Semitism is prejudice and hatred against the Jewish people. And you can still have that even if you're a Jew.
What is Semitic? I thought it meant sub-Saharan African.
But it's
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
So
what is Semite? What does Semite mean?
In the dictionary, it's defined as a people who speak a certain language that is usually from the region of the Middle East. But it's really a biblical term. Right? Noah has several children, and one of those children is Shem. And the descendants of Shem are Semites. Arabs, Jews are Semites because we come from that line. Anti-Semitism was created to talk about the prejudice and hatred against the Jewish people.
Right.
Even though Semites are much bigger than just the Jews.
So I got some African historians saying that there's no such thing as Middle East because Israel's still connected to the African landmass. So there's really no such thing as Middle East because where's the Middle South? Where's the Middle North? Still Africa. That's all I'm saying. I mean, that's what some brothers were saying. It's real deep elders.
It's true. You can see it that way, but at the same time, then when's the cutoff line? Okay, so Israel, and then what? Jordan, Syria, and then what? Turkey? Like, where do you cut it off at that point? So regardless of Africa, Asia, and Europe, the point is that there are civilizations, there are populations that have their own unique culture. All these people that live in the Middle East have a similar ethnicity, have a similar background, have a similar origin, have a Semitic language. Arabic and Hebrew is very similar because it descends from Aramaic, the original language that eventually developed into these two sister languages.
Salam alaikum, shalom aleichem. Easy.
Hamza, that's beautiful. I like all that. And you would think that everybody has been oppressed would be like this, but it doesn't happen like that.
Well, who wins if all these minorities are fighting each other?
I'm just, all I want is just this to be an open conversation, and Jewish people of all need to sit down, have a real showdown. Like, let's talk real, because we're going to be like this, because nobody wants to really go, oh, we really are similar. Yeah. Why can't we just get down?
Because we would destroy racism.
You know what I mean?
Everyone would be broke.
And fight the power for real. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? That's so wow.
Imagine if we all came together, everyone would be broke. The powers above, you know?
Oh yeah.
People that separate us.
But that's why they keep us fighting like that. Yeah. And, you know, they know what they're doing. They
will unite. The question is not if, it's when.
What? Like that. I'm talking about trying to get my people together. Rudy. Rudy. He's crazy.
Au revoir. À bientôt.